Russell Landscape, this is $229,593.85. This is annual contract for mowing and landscape maintenance services for our city parks. This is all of the grass and planting beds, et cetera, outside of ball fields. So our crews will continue to do ball fields because ball fields are highly specialized. What we're having right now is because we've got one crew trying to do everything, right? And Mr. Clifton is helping out where he can, but we're not able to maintain the parks to the level that this community deserves. And so we looked at how can we more effectively do that. And just like with right-of-ways, we can be more effective and cost-efficient by contracting that out rather than hiring additional city personnel. So this is a cost-effective way of handling that. This was, again, a formal bid process, and this is the lowest qualified bidder.
The thing that I'm seeing consistent is these low bids, majority of them are coming out of the Atlanta area.
Yeah,
it's very interesting.
Yeah, you're seeing some of these larger firms, and Russell is a lot like Triscapes. In fact, you see them bidding against each other a lot. Those are some of the largest landscape companies in Georgia, and they have operations. They may be based in Atlanta, but they have operations all over the state. And so because of their size, they are very effective at doing that, and because of the growth we've seen in Middle Georgia, you're going to start seeing some of these companies you haven't seen before trying to get business from us. Remember, we are now the 10th largest city in the state of Georgia. We are an attractive client for some of these companies. So you will see more of this. And again, just because their home office is in Atlanta, Cumming, whatever, doesn't mean that they don't have satellites in various areas of the state.
I get that, Mr. Drinkard. I hear you. And competition is good, and I get that. But we have said this over and over and over and over again from this council, is that we have to be doing everything we're doing for our community to make sure that they're competitive in our community. We got to do everything we're doing to keep our money inside of our community. Our employees, these people that are hiring people locally from Warner Robins, we have to do that. We're talking about a $10,000 difference between Dixie, who already does work for us, and a company out of Atlanta.
Sir, just because their home office is in Atlanta does not mean that this company is not hiring people from right here in Warner Robins, Houston County, et cetera. They have crews that operate in this area of the state. They're not coming from Cumming. They're coming from Middle Georgia. There are people who live in Middle Georgia. Do they live in Warner Robins or Crawford County? That I couldn't tell you. But they're not making a drive from North Atlanta, right? The companies themselves are just that big.
I don't want to talk out of turn, but I think what Councilman Bibb is trying to say, we're trying to grow our local businesses.
Yes, sir.
Because we are most definitely taxing our local businesses. I mean, our budget is reflecting that with our millage rate increase. So we're taxing our local businesses. So we should make an effort to recruit from our local businesses.
Yes, sir. And look, we don't disagree with that whatsoever, right? Go back through my history. Where did I start my career, right? With local chambers of commerce and economic development agencies. I believe in hiring local whenever possible. But we also have a fiscal responsibility, right? And when we're talking about these large cost differences, especially as we're trying to deal with the budgets we have, and we're trying to stretch those dollars, we can't ignore price. We have the ability to do local preference, but it's got to be reasonably close under the policies that we have. If we want to look at changing those purchasing policies, that is certainly something that we can do. That is up to this mayor and council. If you want to say, look, if it's within 30%, we want to go local, we can do that. But as the policies sit today, that is not the way it's drafted. So if we want to make a change, you just tell us you want to make a change. We'll change the policy and bring it to you.
Mr. Drinkard.
Yes, sir.
Where you previously worked at, did they have a local preference policy there? And was it 5% or was it close to that?
It's very similar to what we have here.
Okay. So if we really want to do that, then we would consider going up on that percent. But I'm in favor right now with the cost of living and the way things are, that we go with the low bidder until they don't complete the service satisfactory.
Mr. Drinkard, since you've been here, have we always went with the lowest bidder?
Pretty much always, unless the vendor could not deliver within a specific time frame, could not give us the product that we needed, or if there had been service delivery or product delivery issues in the past.
So my question is, we have had to make an adjustments, and we're talking about $250,000, and we're talking about $10,000 between a local vendor and a company that's based out of Atlanta.
Again, if it's a qualified bid, that's the difference. So if we've had, if they don't bid on scope, if there's been service delivery issues, if when we check performance based on other jurisdictions that they perform services for, things like that, then they can be considered a non-qualified bidder, and then we move on. But, and there are certain things that you may do, let's say you're trying to hire an architectural firm, as an example. That's a professional service, and typically that type of service you're not going to do based primarily on cost. You're going to be basing it on other things. Things like paving, cutting grass, things like that, service-oriented, those are more commodity-based, and price plays a higher role.
Mr. Drinkard, I get that, but I'm talking about this particular bid here.
So am I, sir.
We're talking about $250,000, and we're talking about a local vendor compared to a company coming out of Atlanta, and we're talking about within $10,000.
I mean,
who is the local bidder? They're not from Warner Robins.
Yeah. So look, Mayor and Council, I've said it many times, right? As staff, me and my counterparts on city staff, our job is to advise and execute. We bring you the best advice we can. We give you the best recommendations that we can based on our experience and the information available. You can say, no, we hear what you're saying. Thank you for the advice. We're choosing to go in a different direction. And we will execute based on that, right? Yeah, so, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, we'll move in whatever direction this mayor and council tells us.
I'm just trying to totally understand the process because it seems like I've been here time and time again, and I want to know what we're doing, and I say that. I think some of the stuff needs to be on us as a city. We do everything to support local businesses. We do startup every year. We encourage people to start businesses in Warner Robins. We are, and we should be pushing in this direction of helping. And I've said this, and I think I'm going to repeat myself again from the last time we talked about this battle and the percentage and all that stuff. I just think that we need to do a better job again at promoting our local business, whether it be Cochran or Macon or Byron. Those are local people in our community that we're trying to help. And I just think we ought to be more focused on that. And I've said that again. And I get that you're limited, but I mean this bid between these two people are very, very close. Mm-hmm.
And to echo what he's saying, with the whole promotion of startup Warner Robins, entrepreneurship, local business, mom and pops, things of that nature. But these people, because I hear it, I can't never win a bid with the city of Warner Robins for whatever the reason may be. So are we providing the tools to bid appropriately to fit within our budgets. I know the people, the patrons, or the people that are big, they have responsibility as well to be engaged. But I'm echoing his sentiment that we got to do better with supporting our local businesses and entrepreneurship, to include what Councilman Curtis said about these small businesses being taxed just as much as these big businesses that don't live here. So we need to give them an opportunity to make some of that money.
Certainly. Sir, we have been offering a couple of different sessions on how to effectively bid with the city, how to do business with the city. We're looking to increase the frequency of those. The one thing I can't control is, do they choose to bid, and what price do they bid? So, but totally agree. We would love to see more local vendors submitting competitive bids and being able to do more local business.
I'm going to pivot a little bit. I do understand the concern of council when it comes to some obvious additions to individuals outside of our city bidding on contracts at very low rates. But my question about this particular contract that's on the agenda for Russell Landscape LLC to be awarded the landscaping for Parks and Recreation. I know I've had some conversations about this before, and I asked, I remember that we gave Parks and Rec back their land maintenance crew. And I was told that the land maintenance crew would only be maintaining ball fields. But on this list, unless I misunderstand something, I see recreation fields on here. So help me understand how our staff that we pay, who is supposed to do landscaping for Parks and Rec, what will they be doing after this contract, outsourcing 38 needs for Parks and Rec landscape maintenance? What will that crew now be doing? Because what I don't want to happen is, I hear like we did before, Parks and Rec is being called over to do cutting of the grass. Sorry, I need to correct myself. What I don't want to see is Public Works being called over to Parks and Rec to do cutting of grass, which we've heard has been happening when they had their own landscaping crew. But now I see 38 parks on here that this crew will cut. Where does that leave the Parks and Rec landscaping crew that we have? Because I don't want to see the complaints I heard when I came in. Parks and Rec landscaping crew sitting around with their feet up in the golf course, not doing much work, but Public Works is busting their butts. So help us understand that part.
I can assure you that's not happening now. The ball field maintenance crew, that's the only, we have a 5-person crew and 1 supervisor. They are doing the maintenance at Tanner, the soccer/football fields, North Houston, those 4 softball fields there, and Simpson and Peavy. Those are the only things that they're doing. They're a ball field maintenance crew. That's what they're doing. They're tasked with getting those ball field ready for several nights a week. There's only a 5-person crew, and they're all there, a ball field maintenance crew. They're not a landscape crew, and that's what they concentrate on. Right now, Public Works maintains all of the parks, all of our facilities, all of the grass. So what this will do is it'll free up Public Works so they can do all of the parks and everything. They'll free up Public Works to do other projects in the parks. But the only I think even it says in North Houston, it says excluding the ball fields on the line there, where it says North Houston, excluding ball fields. North Houston means the area around the building, everything but the ball fields. The ball field crew is doing Simpson and Peavy, North Houston, those 4 fields there, and then the Tanner Sports Complex. They mow all of Tanner, including the little playground area. They do the Simpson Peavy, all of Simpson and Peavy, and just the 4 fields at North Houston. That's what that 5-person crew does.
Because I see ball fields for number 5 and 7.
That's Dolores Tolliver. That's the little ball field that it's in. That's actually more of a green space. They do not maintain that. Public Works maintains that right now. That ball field crew does not maintain Dolores Tolliver. Public Works maintains this. This contract is actually paying to do the park maintenance that Public Works is doing now. They're stretched so thin with all of the parks and the right-of-ways. Frankly, they can't get it done.
So when we're not doing outdoor sports at Tanner, North Houston, and Peavy, what is this crew doing? What is our crew doing?
Those ball fields, sports turf is a different animal. It gets mowed 2 times a week during the mowing season, which is about 9 months out of the year. It gets mowed twice a week, not once a week, not once a month. It gets mowed twice a week. Those ball fields do, until it's absolutely dormant. And then it's dormant. They're doing repairs and everything else around the ball fields. So they're not I'm going to go to the ball field this week. No, it gets mowed twice a week. And if you recall, they're mowed at 1 inch to less. They're for turf health. You cut a third of the blade off, and to do that, especially in the rainy season, you have to mow twice a week. Golf courses technically need to go more than twice a week, but this is just for those ball fields.
Was our crew going to be cutting the golf course, or is that outsourced on here?
Golf course is cutting the golf course. We have 6 part-timers at the golf course and 2 full-timers at the golf course, and they handle all the maintenance of the golf course. This crew does not set foot on the golf course.
I have a question.
Mr. Poozer, I know we have a turf professional at the golf course.
Yes.
Do they also have input on the playing fields? Do they, like, with fertilization and recommendations and all that?
Yes, sir, I do that as well. I work with them as well. Right now, this is the first time that those ball fields have been we do 7 applications a year of herbicide, pesticide. I'm contracting that out right now, just like we're doing a lot of that at the golf course. But when I do need help we were doing a lot of work at North Houston. I did call one of the members of the golf course crew over just to help us out.
And do we do our own irrigation repairs?
We do not.
How many employees do we have on that particular, to do it on parks? What do you call it, Mayor?
The ball field or the maintenance crews?
Just the one that cut grass for Parks and Rec. How many do you have?
The only grass that we cut are the ball fields.
How many employees?
5 employees plus a crew leader. And they're just doing the ball fields. Like I said, they have to be mowed twice a week. Those ball fields do.
I'm concerned. I'm not going to listen. Let somebody else get in front of me now. I've sat here and listened, and we can go on and on and on with this here, but I am concerned that you said, who's doing Dolores Tolliver? I mean, there's a feel out there.
Yes.
It's in the community. Growth's going to make it look bad. It already has a bad reputation for the most part, and we need to do everything we can to help that.
Right. There's no organized activities out there right now. We have some groups coming over to play soccer at Dolores Tolliver, and we use those fields for practice. We don't do any game fields. The ball field crew just maintains the fields that we have for tournaments and for the day-to-day use of our leagues, our athletics teams.
And
We have several at Dolores Tolliver. We have several in the parks. We have one at Fountain that gets mowed by Public Works as well. Those do not get a full infield work like the ones that North Houston do and what Simpson and Peavy do and then what Tanner does. Again, that crew is stretched thin.
As stretched as they may be, I want us to find a way to do something bi-weekly, I'm going to say bi-weekly, at Dolores Tolliver.
And I would like to include Ferguson Park to that as well.
So council members, sorry, sir. Council members, we are trying to come up with ways to elevate levels of service, elevate the maintenance within our parks. We want our parks to be places that we're proud of, every single one of them. We cannot do that by continuing to do business the way we have done business. If we want to make improvements, we have to change the way we go about things, and that's what we're trying to do. Now, by going to this type of a contract, Mr. Holmes, you mentioned wanting to see improvements at Dolores Tolliver, frequency of cutting, things like that. This is how we get there.
And Mr. Drinker, thank you for that. And you just made a statement. Continue to do things the way we've been doing. That's what I'm trying to omit, delete. When you come to Dolores Tolliver, it's been neglected, delegated, and every kind of negative way you can say it about that park. And I'm tired of that.
Yes, sir. Our goal is to elevate our parks, right? This is why this man is here, to elevate our parks, to start to expand into sports tourism that you guys have said you're interested in. This is what he does. So this is one step in that direction. Does it get us all the way to where we're trying to go? No. Does it get us to the next step in the process? Absolutely. It starts to take care of the parks we have and starts to elevate those so that as we start to further expand our parks offerings, we're in a position to do that.
Mr. Drinker, thank
Yes,
you so
sir.
much for that. Thank you for that. But I cannot, in all good consciousness, sit here and accept the fact that we can't touch every one of our areas because it's not an organized field. It was an organized field. Our kids grew up on that field over there. And I'm talking about DT because my son is 60 some years old, and he played ball over there. That was a neighborhood park.
Yes, sir.
And it could still be. Now, we have other organizations or other individuals that come in with different areas of concern, and to me, we're pushing them back. We're pushing, and I keep saying DT because that I see, and I'm not going to sit back here as a council member, as a citizen who has seen that DT raised most of these kids in Warner Robins. They're not kids now, they're good and grown now.
Yes, sir.
But DT raised them.
Right.
But now, we don't have that. We're talking about put it out there and they'll come, clean it up and get it organized and they'll come back.
Yes, sir.
So let me piggyback off of Mr. Holmes and Mr. Pooja. I think I called you one day about Dolores Tolliver because I was over there and I told you that it actually broke my heart to see the children out there playing on the field. And I asked you about getting somebody to come over there and cut that field. And you told me what you told me. And but I'm gonna say this: since you have a crew that actually maintains ball fields, can we go ahead and make sure that they maintain everything that is or was a ball field that has not been converted from a ball field as of yet? Even at PV, I know we do more Simpson than the PV side, right? Because we're just practicing over there. But I think, if possible, and I think that Ms. Holmes would agree with me, since you have that crew, if we could go ahead and just have them maintain those fields until we decide to do something else different with those.
In July, we'll be presenting the large contract to do Simpson and Peavy, which will be the complete renovation of Simpson and Peavy. I was here 3 days when I called Mr. Drinker and I said, we got to do something about this. This is where our kids play. So we've been working on that for a year. I'll be presenting to you in July on doing that. This contract calls for 30 mows a year at DT. That's exponentially more than what it's getting now because again, this Public Works is stretched so thin. Public Works right now does all the maintenance at all of the parks, including North Houston, with the exception of the ball fields.
So again, my question is the ball field at Dolores Tolliver.
We can absolutely add that. We can make new Dolores Tolliver fountain. We can add all those that used to be. We can get those infield skinned again. Right now, we only use those for practice. It'll take time. If you wanted to play the games again, they're only one field at each park. So, typically we're operating Little League softball and baseball at North Houston this year and probably next year because the time's going to take to get Simpson PV completed. But we operate those because there's 4 and 5 fields at both of those. We have enough to where we can actually do all the games and have it, and the lights work and all that. So, but yeah, we can absolutely get the ball fields where we reskin them. We can put bases back on them and we hit those. But right now, like I said, that ball field crew is doing all of the Tanner soccer fields and football fields, which need a lot of work because they're played on every day of the year. They never get a break. And also the Simpson PV, they're maintained right now because we do practice there. We have adult teams and our youth teams practice at Simpson and PV. But we can add those DT and Fountain and those others that have the little multi-purpose fields there that,
And I'm gonna try to not say anything else. I'm not gonna say anything. I'm gonna try not to say anything else. With DT, I would like to see that area totally renovated. We need bathrooms over there, but we've talked about these type things.
Yes, sir.
And we need to put that. There's no reason now why we don't have a bathroom over there. I know people go in there and tear them up. The same thing happened in Walker's Pond. When we put the bathroom over there years ago, they would go in there and tear them up. So, we're not gonna stop that. But you're doing a good job, but we can do a better job in some areas. And that's what I'm asking.
Yes, sir. So Mr. Poozer has some ideas and plans for all of our parks, including DT. We hear loud and clear what you're saying. That's in the things that he's going to be bringing forward to you guys to talk through so that we can prioritize those parks and which projects do you want to do in what order, right? That's part of the whole capitalization plan that we have to talk through and specific projects tied to specific funding sources, et cetera. However, and please understand, I'm not trying to push you off, right? Because that's a topic that we have to bring forward on another day. Today, we have to decide what we want to do as far as a mowing contract, right? But I hear loud and clear what you're saying. Mr. Poozer hears loud and clear what you're saying, and we definitely are going to be coming forward with those broader plans, right? In terms of how we want to renovate certain parks, in terms of finding new park spaces in underserved areas of the community. We have whole sections of the city where we don't have parks.
Mr. Drinker,
Yes, sir.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I have. Neighborhood parks.
Yes, sir.
DT is a neighborhood park.
Yes, sir.
It's been a neighborhood park. It's going to be a neighborhood park or field or whatever, but it's going to be neighborhood. And when we did North Houston, one of the first calls, when the council voted on this back during that time, one of the first calls I received was from an individual who lived in the area and told me we didn't need it. And I'm not going to talk about this individual. I don't know him. He was on the phone. He wasn't in my face. So I probably would have been locked up somewhere at that time. But if we want to do something with all the problems we have with the young people today, we got to keep them in the neighborhood. Give them somewhere to go in the neighborhood.
Absolutely. All right. Any additional questions about the mowing contract?
If we approve this, I want to make sure that flex and efficiency is up to par with the staff that you have on hand, those 6
Yes, sir.
employees, that they're earning their hours and not kicked up somewhere because their responsibility is partially taken over.
actually, there's 6.
Come to the mic.
Actually, those 6 employees, their responsibility stays the same, to do all the ball fields and all that. It's that crew is going to maintain those ball fields 2 times. They're going to mow them 2 times a week at North Houston, Simpson PV, until that's under contract, and at Tanner, 2 times a week mowing. And then they also line those ball fields for softball, baseball, football, soccer, and coming this fall, flag football, which is a different line. So they do all the ball field lining, they do all the ball field mowing, they do all the ball field work that is above and beyond the ball field mowing, laying sod and other things.
Mr. Fuzer's been out with that crew, basically since he got here, teaching them things, because they had not been taught how to do this kind of work. So he's been training them on that so that we can improve the job that's being done.
Councilman Bibb told me that the same thing, but don't forget about Tabor Drive.
Yes, sir. All right.
Thank you, Mr. Boozer.
So next we have